About the competitions, why are they important to you?
So the EuRoC was the first competition that we ever took part in because we, as an association, we've always wanted to go to spaceport in the US, but it was very, very difficult because financially we weren't independent, so we weren't able to go there. But they're so important for us because they allow us. But for once, EuRoC is the first thing that allowed us to start working again after the pandemic. Even though we would have made some rocket any even without a competition, having the competition in mind gave us a goal, an objective, something to aim towards, and that was very important to motivate our team after the crash and some failures in the past. So it was very important for motivation. But yeah, as of now, it's important to go to Europe because it allowed us also to meet so many of the other teams. And we are the only association in Italy who does something like this. And after Europe, we found out about a lot of universities who want to get involved in rocketry and start their own team. And I think that Europe gave us, for once, as I said, the opportunity to meet other people who do what we do and realize how that we're not alone. That's kind of it. But mostly, it also gave us some kind of achievement with all these awards that we got that we didn't expect. We went there and we thought that we were the underdog, the person like we didn't have any money, we didn't know. We had crashed just just 2 years before, so it was very. We weren't expecting anything, and then we had this big surprise of the achievements and awards, and it was so motivating, and that's why we're doing such a hard job on Pyxis and on the other rockets. And I think that's what's important for the team, to know that we have a goal and to know that we can aim at something more than just shooting rockets and waiting for them to come down.
Could you say a bit about how was the EuRoC mission?
Sure. So we had an assembly an hour or a pair before being ready for the launchpad mounting. Then the ground station started to study data from the atmosphere, and from the rocket electronics, telemetry, and things like that, while going to the launch pad. When the rocket was mounted on the launch pad, we started the activation of the electronics systems and also the mounting of the igniter, which is always an important part of the rocket launch, since it's very, very, very dangerous. And we never love to have some difficulties or things that are not very safe in the launch pad. Then we have a very short powered flight that is like 5 seconds maximum. And for this event, EuRoC in Portugal, the situation was so hot in terms of weather. There were like 30 degrees Celsius. So the motor like had an overpower of like 5%, 10%, and we had to open our air brakes in order to reach the apogee that was 376 meters. And at the apogee, when the rocket is horizontal, we have the ejection of our nose cone. The drogue parachute comes out, and our special feature for a Lynx was that the nose cone took out the drogue, but when the drogue started to drag down the rocket, the nose cone detached from the drogue, but it did not detach from the rocket. So there was, at the end of the flight, when we took out our main parachute, we have a nose cone that was under the main parachute. So it was safer than what we used to do before with the drogue and the nose cone that were attached together. and we used a skyhook in order to do this kind of movement. And for this year, instead, the Pyxis mission will have a complete detachment of the nose cone and the rocket. The rocket will go down with a classic parachute two-stage recovery in order to make the youngsters learn how to have a normal recovery, a nominal recovery. And the nose cone part will have first a drug, and then for a second stage, for first it will have a little parafoil that will have a control in order to get as near as possible to the place we will decide to make it land.
As for the last year's mission, there was a lot of tension. Like the assembly phase is extremely delicate, and our structure leader usually makes it with classical music, and there must be absolute silence, and everybody was walking on eggshells. It was so tense, but it went without any issue. So we proceeded and we started doing all of the setup and stuff. And once the rocket was on the ramp, and one big emotion after the other. At first, we saw the rocket start, and then we started hearing the numbers. So we heard 2,500, 2,700, 3,000, apogee detected, drug deployed, main deployed. And once you see the main parachute, all of the tension that was built up in the primary phases just goes away. And it was such a huge experience, and it was really, really amazing.
As the recovery guy of Lynx, I wasn't so happy until I saw the main parachute out. So I was very scared, especially when the rocket started coming down. They told me the drug was out, so I was like, okay, let's wait some more minutes, a pair of minutes maximum. Then when I saw the main parachute opened, I was like, okay, my job is done. Thank you, everyone. I'll go home now.
What did you learn?
So many things. It was such a beautiful experience. And we met so many teams. We learned about how they build their rockets, how they're organized. So we started to challenge ourselves, thinking maybe we can change things and we can innovate ourselves as well. And I don't know, from a technical point of view, I think we learned a lot, obviously, because you get the chance to see what other people are doing. But also from a teamwork point of view and from a personal experience point of view, you just find so many people that are so passionate about what they do. And when you get a chance, EuRoC gave us all the chance to launch the rocket, and it's such an opportunity that we're so grateful for, and I know that other teams are grateful for it as well. So you find yourself in this environment where everybody is, you know that you're doing something that is dangerous and it's important to be focused, but at the same time, it's just such a happy, passionate environment. And so yeah, we were able to make friends with many teams, and we still do keep in touch with them, mostly for planning the next EuRoC.
Do you have any useful exchanges in the EuRoC?
Yes, many of them. And we were like the first day of launch. So the next days we were able to talk to everybody with a free mind, without the need to work. And it was really good since we were super happy to help the others. And so we took part of the work of some teams, and we were happy because of this. For example, one of our guys was very, very good with the egg timer, that is the competition electronics tracker. So it gives you the altitude that the competition reads in order to give you points. And he was so good with this that everybody had some problems, and he went and solved it with them, helped them, and we were super happy with this. Because when I started joining Skyward, I had a launch, and we were alone and we were working, but the first launch had some troubles, but it worked. The second had some troubles and didn't manage to have a launch. And from my point of view, having someone else that comes and helps you is very important, and to be helpful and making them join and see their little dream come true is very, very important.
Do you have more rockets at EuRoC?
We only have Lynx there, and but we thought also to try and find some other motor in order to launch it again, because it was immaculate. Even if we had a little bit of a problem with the parachute, because it landed on branches, and one of the branches of a tree made a little cut on the parachute. But it could have been a solvable problem, and so we could not have another launch, unfortunately. But the rocket was super, super, super okay. So we were happy to show it, not to use it, but to show it. It was very cool.
Because I think we put the rocket on the table to be seen, but I don't think people realized that we had already launched it, because the rocket was in perfect condition, and that made us really happy. We were thinking about launching again, but yes, the funny thing is our rockets like to end up on trees. And so once the rocket landed, we thought we knew where it was because we had the GPS signal. But once we went there, it wasn't there. And so we had to wait to go back and wait for the other teams to launch and then send out a mission to find this rocket. And it was getting dark. So a team of maybe 7 to 8 people had gone into the woods literally to find this rocket, and all the others had stayed there, and we were waiting, and we didn't know whether we were going to get our rocket back. And once they came back and we saw them, there was a military car in front of them, so we couldn't see them really well. And once we saw them and we saw the rocket, there was this big scream, and everybody was laughing and jumping up and down. So there were a lot of emotions there.
What do you plan to do in 2022?
So we're planning to join EuRoC 3K solid COTS again. And we will try also to test it in a Roccaraso again. We'll have a payload, as we said, and we'll have a parafoil. That is a very complicated system to develop in 1 year. We tried to have the development of a Rogallo wing some years ago, but we saw that it needed 6 servos to work, and our partner told us stop with the Rogallo and try with the parafoil. So we are trying with the parafoil, and we already tested it a pair of times from the helicopter, but we will keep on working on this in order to have a control that is better and better, since it's not really easy stuff. Also, we'll have a lot more of composite on our rockets, and so it will be lighter, and we'll try to have a optimization on many parts. So we'll have a rocket that is very, very, very lighter, but that will have the same performances as Lynx in terms of altitude. And we'll try to get nearer to 3,000 meters, but I don't know. I hope it is possible. But it was we were very, very happy with the results of last year. We'll try to do something like that again, but we'll see. I don't know. Also, it's a problem of motors and temperature. So there are many, very many things that can go wrong, of course, and we'll hope just that everything will go well. We'll hope to be more precise also in terms of pieces and parachute folding, and reduce the risks. so that we will be calmer and less anxious in the next launches.